The first collection of common tasks is users and groups, and this is typically where most people will want to start. You've got an instance of Azure Active Directory. Great. Let's make some users and groups. Managing users and groups is a very, very simple process. There's essentially three types of users that exist within Azure AD. You have cloud identities, which are users that exist only within Azure Active Directory. And typically these types of users are administrative roles. So you create additional administrator accounts. You also have directory synchronized identities. Now, these are users that would have been brought in through a synchronization activity on Azure AD Connect, and they represent user accounts that exist in Windows Server Active Directory that have now been synchronized and created within Azure Active Directory. And then finally, guest user accounts, which are users that are from another realm entirely. And when I say realm, I mean maybe it's a Google account or a Windows, a Microsoft account, or some other identity that you're granting access to your instance of Azure AD or a particular resource for collaboration or contribution or whatever. The ways that you create user accounts, there's a couple. You can do this through the Azure portal system, either the current or the new portal, the current portal, or the classic, the older portal, using the web-based administration tools that Azure provides you. You can also create them through PowerShell. There's a series of commandlets in PowerShell for building user accounts. And then finally, because tools like Office 365 and Windows Intune leverage Azure Active Directory as their directory provider, those tools have user account management functions. Within Office 365, you can create mailboxes, which in turn create Azure Active Directory user accounts. The same is true for Microsoft Intune. You can create Intune user accounts, and that creates an Azure Active Directory user. Once you create Azure Active Directory users, they can be placed in groups for any number of reasons, either directly or indirectly. A directly assigned group is when you create the group and then you manually add individual user accounts to it. A dynamically created group is a type of group where you don't add the specific user account, but rather you define the membership via a characteristic. For example, everyone who is in the sales team. So if their user account has a property which is sales team, they're automatically a member of that group. These are extremely powerful types of groups in very large companies where individual users may move around or be reassigned. It helps the administrator not have to worry that, if Bob moved from sales to marketing, that he's now got to go manage that permission. Dynamically assigned groups, it'll automatically get updated as the properties of the user change. And the same tools are available for group management. You have the Azure portal, and you also have Windows PowerShell. Now, speaking of PowerShell, here's some common PowerShell commandlets for working with Azure users and groups. Get MSOL. MSOL, by the way, stands for Microsoft Online. So we can create a new user, remove a user, set properties of a user, and then the same with groups. Create new groups, add groups, remove groups, etc. So you'll notice that these commands are slightly different than your typical Azure PowerShell commandlets that usually begin with Azure RM. So there's slightly different commands. MSOL, look for all commands that start with MSOL, and you'll have the full set of user-based PowerShell commandlets.